Hello everyone, I hope you had a great day. Today we are looking at 3 new malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter but not the spirit of a request. I hope you enjoy them. The first story is called "The Students Should Build It." I'm a technology education teacher who always went above and beyond for my school, students and administrators. I spent countless hours designing and building things for the school, like signs, murals, wall art and games. I really didn't mind, because I enjoy the design challenges that go along with these builds. That was until I received a pink slip. For those of you who are not aware, a pink slip basically means that I may be losing my job the following school year. This really set me off, because I had received great observations and became a role model for my students. And I had put in dozens of unpaid hours to create these side projects for the school. I had a meeting with my assistant superintendent, who basically told me that she appreciated all of my hard work but didn't see much value in my program. And with budget cuts coming down the pike, I would most likely be losing my job. Now, it needs to be mentioned that tech education is not like the traditional shop classes of the 70s, where students would build birdhouses and ashtrays. My curriculum focused primarily on STEM, with heavily involved hands-on applications. I related otherwise dry material to awesome projects that all students enjoyed. Kids actually liked their schoolwork, and she knew it. Needless to say, I was beyond livid. The week following the meeting, my principal asked me if I was interested in building some new games for the cafeteria that students could play when they finished eating. Easy table games like mini knock hockey or checkerboards to alleviate students from getting out of control. I explained that I could not complete the project, and that was that. Until the assistant superintendent caught me in the hallway and told me, "Just have the students build it." So that is exactly what I did. I tasked my laziest and most unqualified students with a special project, the result of which was glorious. Checkerboards that didn't have squares, knock hockey boards with splinters and uneven goals, laser engraved puzzles that did not fit together. I thanked the students and asked the assistant superintendent to come on down to my lab, because the student projects were done and they were excited to show them off. In she walks, and upon seeing the projects looks me dead in the eye. She now has a decision to make. Either ask me what the hell happened, or tell the students to their faces what a great job they did. She opted for choice 2, going on and on about how great everything looks and how proud she was of the students. Meanwhile, I had the biggest smile on my face knowing how crappy they turned out. I thanked her for suggesting to have the students build it, as she left with essentially a pile of scrap wood. The projects never made it to the cafeteria. I resigned from that school and took a job that paid $12,000 more at a place where I was valued. They ended up keeping the position and begged me to stay on board. But I realized resigning was my best option. I could get an early jump on all of the new openings, as opposed to being let go at the end of summer, which would leave me with the worst schools that could not find a teacher. I hope you enjoyed today's video so far. If you like the video, don't forget to press the like button. It really helps the channel. And now, on to the next story. The next story is called "Change Our Expenditure." This happened about 10 years ago when I worked for a company doing community nursing. We were provided with company cars and a prepaid card for expenditure, fuel and food. The card had a limit of 400 euros per week. This means the card resetted to the 400 limit every Monday morning. Despite the 400 euros limit, the usual amount any of us spent each week was around 150 to 200 euros, depending on travel. The usual way was to get a full tank once a week, which was around 55 to 60 euros, and the rest was coffee and lunch. Enter Chad. He was the financial officer and had some pretty unique ideas about changing the finances of the company. One of the ideas he instituted was a change to our prepaid cards. He dropped the limit to 50 euros a day, with the card resetting every day. As you can understand, this was a problem, especially if you consider that a full tank costed 55 euros minimum. If you used the card for fuel, then the rest was paid out of pocket. We couldn't be reimbursed for the money because you have a company card, learn to use it more efficiently. Initially, my coworkers were spending 30 euros on fuel and refueled 2 or 3 times a week, but not me. While my malicious compliance tendencies were natural, during my Navy service were honed to perfection by a couple of Master Chiefs. So enter malicious compliance. I decided to spend around 20 euros on fuel each day, some days less. And then pay for my own coffee out of pocket and spend the rest at lunch. I used to patron a grill and barbecue place that had a catering side. They also volunteered for a local food bank and kitchen. The owner had grown up dirt poor and liked to help. A lot of the clients would buy something and add a little extra to an open tap for the food bank. Then the catering will go each Sunday and provide food for the homeless and the poor, using the tap and funds from the owner. So I went there every day, got something to eat, and the rest of the 50 euros would go to the tap. I started rising at least 90 euros a week for the food bank. I hit the limit every day, costing the company 250 euros a week from 150. Chad was furious. He was trying to save money and I was costing him more. He asked me to explain my expenses. I said food and fuel. He asked for receipts. I provided them. The receipt said food, nothing else. He finally said I should eat cheaper. I told him the company couldn't force me not to eat whatever I wanted. After that meeting, a couple of coworkers saw me coming out smiling and inquired about it. I explained what I was doing. The smiles on their faces were glorious. Soon afterward, 6 nurses spent all their expenses the same way. This went on for 2 months. Chad was livid because now he was losing even more money. The solution came unexpectedly. Unbeknownst to all of us, the owner of the company was a major contributor to the food bank. He knew about the restaurant helping out and had seen the richer buffets. He asked the owner of the restaurant about it and he said a few nurses had started coming in, raising the tab. At that point 600 euros minimum. The owner put 2 and 2 together. I was called in for a meeting with the owner. I was anxious because I didn't know what it was about. When I got there, Chad was also there. During the meeting, Chad explained how he was losing money, but he couldn't do anything about it. I explained what our grievance was and how we took advantage of it. Chad replied that we shouldn't game the system for something so stupid as a food bank. The owner stopped the meeting right there. He reinstated the old system for expenditure. He reprimanded both of us for the whole mess, me a bit less. And he informed me that if I make a donation for the food bank to notify him and he will match it. The final result was getting our old system back, which we didn't abuse, a weekly donation to the food bank and a major Easter Sunday barbecue for the food bank, sponsored by the company. Chad lasted only another 3 months because his penny saving grace dropped the quality of care we could provide. I stayed with the company until it was sold to new owners who were more like Chad. The last story is called Just Follow the Manual. I worked as a drone pilot and mine surveyor for a man-child. We were using drones to take pictures of the mines and creating a 3D model out of those pictures. With those we could calculate all sorts of goodies for the clients, like the gold yield and the amount they have to move. It's really technical and can easily go completely south if you don't know what you are doing. And even if you know what you are doing, it can still very easily go to complete trash. I'm licensed and certified. I've been playing the game for a long time now, and I know how it works most of the time. My ex-boss, on the other hand, did not. He got his surveyor's license during the 80s by complete chance. He was a simple miner who just happened to be in the right place at the right time. He got a free university scholarship to become a surveyor because they had a few grants left over and called out who wanted it. His hand was one of the ones they picked. The second he got his license, he quit his job and convinced an old retiree surveyor to throw in his retirement, all cards on the table, to start up their own surveying business. He spent the entire time at the golf course and the bar, making a big amount of cash out of his newly founded self-milking cash cow. Not once did he carry out an actual survey. Heck, I doubt he's even stepped foot on a mine since then. He just invoiced the clients, told the retiree where to go and collected a paycheck. So time moves on, work slowly filters in, and as one does when they reach the ripe old age of 80-something, the retiree decides to kick the bucket. My boss's cash cow just died on him. And no matter how hard he squeezed the teats, the only thing coming out of it now was dust. The only other employee was this other guy, who acted as his assistant and basically just carried heavy things for him. He didn't have a backup. That's why he hired me. I was pretty fresh into the game at the time, starving and basically homeless, and in my eyes, this guardian angel just descended from the heavens and offered me a way out. He basically told me that we have to survey X site and get the data to X client. He didn't tell me how and didn't tell me what data exactly they wanted. He didn't even tell me when they needed it. He just pointed to the place on Google, told me to go there and get it done. Somehow I did it. It was hard, but somehow I figured out what to do. At some point we were kicked off of the mine for reasons that my boss didn't disclose to me. We had to open up our own offices. My boss graciously dug deep into his pockets, kicked out his eldest son and dedicated that room in his house to our use. Now I was spending every day with the man, since if he wasn't at the golf course, he was at home. We started butting heads. He had this illusion in his head of how things work and how you're supposed to do things. And I had practical experience and qualifications to tell me otherwise. Every single day was a fight. And every single day he'd tell me how he wanted it to be done. And I'd just turn around and do it the way it meant to be done. I started passing out my CV like crazy. My timing was perfect though, because a little blip and crash of the 2020 job economy happened right as I started searching. The interviews I had lined up all got cancelled. The people who I already interviewed with and who seemed ecstatic to have me suddenly didn't answer my calls. I felt like a scorned lover waiting on the curb in the rain. I felt hopeless and dejected, doomed to a life of taking care of a disgusting man-child and his fat wallet. Eventually though, a second angel descended from the heavens, once again saving me. Finally, I could leave this place. I was waiting on the contract, not really willing to commit to anything without it being in writing, when my boss and I got into another massive screaming fight. After hour 3, something inside me snapped. You want it done your way? Fine, I'll do it your way. I committed hard to following his procedure every step of the way. Surveys were taking 3 times longer to do. The drone crashed 4 times, my first ever crash, and all of them were near write-offs. The 3D models stopped looking like mines and started resembling potato chips and tweezers. He had clients calling him day and night, non-stop, asking him just what the heck he is doing. Eventually he gave my number to them so they can call me directly. I started getting calls day and night, non-stop, until I just turned off my phone outside of office hours. Clients were threatening to drop the contracts. Clients were threatening to sue. My contract came in from my new company, and I signed the dotted line with a smile on my face. One client stopped calling and stopped paying. Word got out, as it always does, that this company is just some scam service being run out of someone's home. Another client cancelled the contract completely and threatened legal action. And I handed in my resignation. My boss looked at me pleadingly, offering me a ton of cash to stay. I told him to get lost. He begged me to write him a manual on how to do the work, to show him how to process the data, to fly the pits, to set up the instrument. I spent the last 2 weeks there writing out every procedure he ever told me I needed to follow, sent it through to him and walked away. A few weeks later, when he was scheduled to do a survey, I was suddenly slammed with calls and emails and messages from him. He asked me how to do this, or how to fly that, or where to find this data. His manual wasn't working. Surprise, surprise. I just said, I don't know, just read the manual. My new company is currently picking up all the contracts he's dropped. If we manage to get the last one, I'm gonna ask them for a bonus. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.